Hi, it's Kristen Louise here, and I live in Perth, Western Australia, and it's currently day 5 of a 5-day lockdown that we're having at the moment. And I really wanted to speak about something that happened to me yesterday when I was out walking. Now, to preface this, I normally don't talk about lockdowns, masks, any of this sort of stuff. I make a habit of not doing it because I don't really like to focus on the negative aspects so much of what's going on in the world at the moment. I prefer to focus on what we do want from here on in, rather than, I find that what you focus on is the more of what you create. So I purposely avoided, talking about any of this stuff. And also in Perth, we've been extremely fortunate that we've pretty much lived our lives as normal for many months now. So to go into a lockdown with 4 hours notice was extreme manoeuvres and very quick, and something that we're not used to. There's a lot of talk going on about how we've become complacent over here. I find that word interesting in itself, because now when we are attempting to live our lives as per normal, we're suddenly being called complacent. Interesting. Anyway, yesterday I decided to go for a walk. Now over here we're allowed to have 1 hour's exercise a day. The other thing that's very different over here compared to the lockdown previously is masks have become mandatory to wear them outside. Now I see people wearing masks in cars on their own. I don't understand that. There's a lot of things I don't understand about this, and this video is not to have a dig at people. It's just to question things, because I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. It doesn't make sense to me. So I wasn't even going to share this story either, but I actually spoke to someone today about it, and they were absolutely gobsmacked. And I thought, okay, maybe this is something that needs to be shared. I feel it's important to share my story. So yesterday I went for a walk. Now, I wasn't wearing a mask. I'm exempt from wearing a mask. I have asthma, but the other thing with wearing a mask to me is I actually get a lot of anxiety around it. I cannot handle the feel of a mask on my face. It actually creates panic in my system. The thought of putting one on my body actually physically stiffens at the thought, and my breathing starts to become laboured. It causes panic in my system. So for the first time in 4 days, I went for a walk because my body was actually stiff and sore. And I went for a walk where I normally do, down by the river. And when I got down there, everyone had a mask on. Now, had I have walked down there 5 days ago, no one would have had a mask on. So even families on bikes with small children, they were all wearing masks, even the kids, everyone. So yes, I was like the odd one out. And what was really interesting was as I walked down there, I always smile at people and say hi. Now, I was smiling at people, but I couldn't tell if they were smiling back. I couldn't read any emotions from their faces. I didn't know if they were smiling or scowling at me. I couldn't tell, because so much of their face was covered. I'd really lost that human connection with people. I couldn't read their faces and know how they were feeling. They were blank. So I continued walking, and I came across one other person, a man who was walking with a cup of coffee, a takeaway coffee in his hand. He didn't have a mask, and we both smiled at each other. A few moments after that, a police car came past me, and it stopped. It turned around and it came back, and they questioned me. The officers questioned me about why I was walking outside without a mask. And so the first thing I did was I thought, well, I want to make this a human interaction, because when they got out of the car, they had a hat on, they had glasses on, and they had a mask. I couldn't see any of their face. And I thought, wow, I actually want to make this a human interaction. So I walked up to them and I said, hello. And they said hi, and they were really lovely. They were really nice. And they just asked me why I wasn't wearing a mask. And I said, I'm exempt from wearing a mask. I said, I have asthma and it causes me great anxiety to wear one. So basically, because I couldn't produce a letter, they asked me about that, a doctor's note. And I said there wasn't time to go to the doctors. I said there was no time to prepare for this. They basically told me that I wouldn't be able to walk. They said that they gave me permission to walk maybe another 10 minutes down the road, but they said what's going to happen is you're going to have about 30 people, they will have about 30 people that ring them and say someone's not wearing a mask. Now at this point, I actually burst into tears because I just didn't know what else to do. And I was so upset. Traumatised could be the word. For what I was actually hearing. This is the city that I love, the city that I've grown up in. And I can't go for a walk and express my right to choose without being pulled over by police and questioned. And I don't blame the police, they're just doing their job. But what upset me the most was that people in such a short space of time are now turning against each other. If someone can't wear a mask, it's their God-given right to express that. Now, when we think about this lockdown, it happened really quickly. I didn't watch the whole press conference. I watched maybe the first minute of it with our Premier. And what I could see from that, he was very nervous. Something didn't feel right. Very edgy, very nervous. And I have to question, I sit here, I came home after that walk. I sat down by the river and I bawled my eyes out. I literally bawled my eyes out. I was holding my heart. I couldn't function. I was finding it hard to breathe just at the sheer state of where we're at the moment, and how quickly things have completely spun around in a short space of time, and how we're so willing to just give away our freedoms like that. We haven't questioned anything. We've accepted one person's version of the truth because one person in WA tested positive to COVID. Yes, in a quarantine facility. Yes, they're tracking him. Or are they? Now, myself included here, I haven't asked for any official documents to be shown. I haven't asked for confirmation that this person has tested positive. I haven't asked anything. We have just accepted with blind faith that what one person is telling us is the absolute truth of the matter. Now, our entire state has been shut down because of one person with COVID. And no one questions it. Businesses are going under again. And no one actually questions any of it. We don't stop and go, hang on a minute, where's the proof of this? We just accept things as the truth. What if we're being told lies? What if this isn't true? What if we've been walking around pissed off, wearing masks, because that's the bottom line, people are pissed off, and we didn't have to? What if we're sending children back to school next week still wearing masks in high school, and we don't have to? What if there's nothing to fear? What if this has been created as a fabrication and a story so that while we're all distracted looking that way and focusing on this lockdown and wearing masks and things, something much more sinister is happening in the opposite direction, but we're not looking that way? When did we just give away our power so easily and readily, without question? What I see now, I was a primary school teacher for 13 years, and what I'm experiencing now in Perth is very similar to, I liken to the education system. From a very young age, I know as a teacher, when I taught young kids, 5 and 6 year olds, is one of the greatest skills to have is behaviour management skills as a teacher. It's the ability to work with people, to get them to comply and to do the right thing and to follow the rules. And what are we being asked to do now? Do the right thing, follow the rules. Don't question it, comply, be obedient, and you get the gold stars. You get rewarded. Those of you that don't, that are thinking outside the box, those of you that are questioning the rules or not complying without question, well, there's consequences. We have been conditioned and programmed from an extremely young age to not question, to comply, to be good boys and girls and follow the rules. And that is why when things like this are happening now, we have been so conditioned and programmed to go straight back into that mindset and do the right thing. What if it's not the right thing? How can letting people take away our civil liberties, our freedoms, and our rights to choose as human beings be the right thing? When I walk down the road and I can't connect with people anymore because I can't even see their faces, it's like something out of a movie. It really is. All the movies that we've seen and watched about, those great big horrific things happening and how the world changes, this is it. We're in it. And unless we start to question things and look at what is actually going on around us, and is this for our own safety? Is this for our greatest highest good? How are people losing their businesses and their livelihoods? How is that for our greatest good? How is everyone running around in fear, covering their faces? All of the kids out there, we're all contracted in fear. How is that any way to live our lives? It doesn't feel good. This just doesn't feel good. This is not what we came for. Where is the human connection? What is actually going on here? One thing I've learned the last couple of years, that things are never what they seem. They're just not. And what I feel now is it's really important for us to wake up, to ask questions, to seek clarification, to question the rules. Who makes them? How is driving in a car with a mask on your face on your own protecting you or anyone else? Are you going to infect yourself? None of it makes any sense. And the rules keep changing all the time. There are certainly positives to this. Some things we are learning to do. We're learning more to go with the flow. We're learning more to adapt quickly and to not take things for granted anymore. And there's some beautiful aspects to live in the present moment and to be more grateful for what we do have. Sure, there's positives. There is. But what if it doesn't have to be this way? What if there's another way? And my biggest concern is if we're so willing to just accept at blind faith what someone is telling us and completely upend our lives within 4 hours, which was absolute sheer chaos because everyone panicked, then what's the next step? Because the envelope will be pushed. Because of the way we reacted and we responded to this. We're all in this together, all of us. There is no right or wrong or good or bad. It's just what is. But we get to choose how we respond. And how you choose to respond determines what happens next. So at what point do we actually start to question all of this and the quality of our lives? Now, I can't walk down the street anymore and take some fresh air into my lungs and exercise. Is that quality of life? That's just been taken away from me. I didn't come here for this. It's not fair. It's not fair, it's not just, and it's not right. It doesn't feel good. I shouldn't say it's not right. It is what it is. And I know it's all leading to something bigger and better, but my intention with this video today is for those of us that are just going about our business and accepting what people are telling us, regardless of who they are, regardless if they're politicians, friends, lovers, family, if we're accepting things at face value without questioning it, without even putting a modicum of thought into it, then we're giving our power away to someone else. And what I know about this time at the moment is actually about going within and making our own determination and judgments about what feels good for us. Coming to our own truths about our own existence, why we came here, what we're here for, what is our purpose? The bigger questions. And for us to be able to step into our own sovereignty and become our own authority. Because when you can do that, you have the capacity to see beyond what people are just saying, the words, and to actually be able to feel the intention and the energy behind it, and to know whether people are being honest with you or not. And that is when you start to take your power back. And that is when we learn to trust ourselves and connect to our innate wisdom inside of us and the knowings inside of us about who we are and what is in our best interests. And the first stage of that is questioning what is going on around us. To actually look at it and question it. To feel into it and to see, does this feel good to me? Does it feel good to me to be told what I can and can't do? Yes, there's an element of people wanting to stay safe, but we're safe already. We're already safe. We've got the most amazing immune systems. Now, if I was sick, there's no way I'd be outside. We've all got common sense. We all know if you're sick, you stay away. But it's when the healthy are being persecuted. It's when it just doesn't make sense. What is this about? What is it really about? And if this is how we choose to respond, what are we going to get next? And at what point does it become so limiting and restrictive on our lives that we actually stop and we go, hang on a minute, I'm not doing this anymore. This doesn't feel good. I'm not playing this game anymore. That's it. No more. I don't know where things will go to from here. I don't know. I don't know that anyone does. Maybe some people do. But I know where I'd like them to go. Yes, things need to change, and sometimes through pain and discomfort, often through pain and discomfort is how we make big changes in our lives. So yes, looking at the bigger picture, this is why it's all happening. It is all for our greatest, highest good. It is so we can take our power back. And it's our decision when, how, or even if we choose that for ourselves. The one thing we do have is free choice and free will. And to have that taken away from us, or to allow other people to take that away from us, doesn't feel good. So I urge you to just question, what are your values? What do you hold dear about your lives and your existence here on this planet? What's important to you? And to our children, what kind of world do we want to leave behind for them? I'm going to leave this here, and thank you for listening. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I appreciate it. And my wish for you all is just to sit back and just question our own individual behaviour without judgment, without blame, without shame, without guilt. Just question what we're doing, what you're doing, and how that feels for you. Thanks for listening. I love you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.